There's a thin line between heroism and madness.
Here the line fades to nothing at all.
This is a world of capes and lunatics.
And nothing is off limits.
Hello and welcome once again to another always professional and always prepared Capes and Lunatics podcast. You might be hearing this on the first or second, but this is the last episode of Capes and Lunatics for 2017.
Yeah, they're watching it right now on YouTube, so.
That's right. And, all right, we don't have to worry about that.
Live tweeting us, even as we speak.
That's right. You can always live tweet us. All right, I am Phil, and of course, that other pretty boy who also got a haircut this week is...
Charlie the Professor Esser. What do you think, folks? I did it myself. I think I did a good job. And I wasn't drunk when I did it.
Gonna rock it at that interview tomorrow. And drinking her grape juice, questioning the choices she's made in her life when it comes to us is...
Little Pelgar, y'all. What's up? And by the way, Rachel Maddow would be very proud of that haircut, Charlie.
I said it was a Rachel Maddow. That was the look I was going for.
Perfect.
That's right.
Don't get me started. Oh, Rachel Maddow. That is
we needed a lesbian. We got Charlie Esser.
First off, I have very effeminate features. I look a lot like my mom.
Is that your way of...
Went as a lesbian for a Rocky Horror Party, and damn, I pulled it off.
Feminine features, is that your way of saying you're too pretty?
I am so pretty. I am so pretty. No, I mean, I have, I look a lot like my mom, and my mom was,
a sexy
in that
lady.
sort of gender middle ground, and that's fine. That was my mom, man. I got no problems with that. She was awesome, and gender is such a construct. That's how I was raised. I don't know. Maybe you were raised differently. I was raised that just a construct. You be you. That's my motto. But yes, Rachel.
On a positive note, I love it.
Well, I can undo it right now by just saying it's all Freudian, man. It's like, the reason I have this level of Rachel Maddow is because, short-haired woman with strong opinions, well, that's my mom. And it's like, paging Dr. Freud, so. It all comes back circular, man,
Anyway,
Phil, how do you let the train go off the tracks every time?
We're in the Esser vortex.
You invited me, Lilith.
Come on, you don't have apple juice or grape juice, Phil. What's your excuse?
The gravitational pull of that Esser vortex, I'm telling you what. Bends the laws of physics every week. Anyway, Charlie was talking before we hit the start button that we were talking about the create your own Marvel and
little TOS?
What?
A little terms of service?
Yeah, Charlie had the terms of service. Man.
Look, okay, you kids don't remember this, but I remember TOS. And that's what it's called TOS. You don't call it terms of service. It's the TOS.
As TOS.
And we would always call out folks on the old America Online about violation of TOS. And
AOL.
It's mostly boilerplate TOS. I printed it out. I printed out the 2 pages, the most important pages.
Did you say you argued this stuff out on AOL back in the day?
Of course we did, man. No, it's like, every so often someone would violate TOS, and you'd say, you violated TOS, man. Toss that guy out. That's why it's called TOS, because you toss them out. Because the terms of service. And basically it's the whole crux of it. And here's the thing. And here's the thing that is annoying, because people read one thing and see the worst, and there's actually a better part in there. Because there actually is a statement that you do not show discrimination based on sex, race, sex, religion, nationality, disability, sexual orientation, or age. And there's another thing about how you don't talk politics in it. And they say, well, that means you can't talk about, sex or gender identity, except they already said, dude, it's cool. You can talk about that. Just don't make it, make it family friendly. And not for nothing. Here's the thing. You can talk about sexual identity and gender identity and all those things in a very family friendly way by just saying, "Oh, that's Lucille. She wants you to call her Lucille. She's a female, and that's who she is. Or she is gender neutral. She wants to be called 12. That's her name, and it's very friendly family." Happening. So when 12 walks into your scene, you wrote a character named 12 who's gender neutral, or Soda to go with the Seinfeld reference. So your child's name is Soda, good for a boy or a girl. And they come in, and I'm Soda, and I'm whatever the character's thing is. I have mutant powers, or I have, I'm a really smart person.
Or what was that kid on Married with Children? 7?
7, yeah, 7.
It's still a sign.
7.
Yeah, true.
Although 7 was the 7th child in that family, that's why they were named 7.
No, remember he was
Bobcat Goldthwait.
Because they said he was like, yeah, my kids were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7.
Yeah, well, they didn't know 6. Although, man, that always reminds me of this great hypnosis scene I saw in some movie once. Well, it was actually a documentary, which made me think it was real. Is they made someone forget about the number 6, and they were counting their fingers, and they couldn't figure out why they couldn't remember 6. But that's hypnosis. It's a weird thing. Hypnosis is all about plausible deniability and having fun, having an excuse to do something. It's basically the hypnosis is the placebo effect ritualized. But it's actually a useful tool.
Yeah, what are these terms of service?
So people were upset about the terms of service, and this is why I say it's boilerplate. Because one of the items in there, because they have that you can't use obscenity or offensive language or double entendres or proxies for bad language, including,
that's what she said.
Qbert stuff. But the thing that tells you that it's boilerplate is they have violate that you cannot have aliens in it. Now, if you're writing comic book stories, how do you write comic book stories without aliens?
Are we talking about extraterrestrials or foreigners?
Oh, we're talking about extraterrestrials, I assume.
I assume too, but
yeah. Well, no. Well, but here's the thing: terms of service aren't enforced. Or to be more specific, they are enforced capriciously against people who violate the terms of service in an egregious way. Meaning that if you want to write a story with Skrulls, they're not going to toss you out for writing a story with Skrulls. However, if you write a story with Skrulls where the Skrulls are doing something that is like weird or unsavory, like voting for Trump, and enough people rally against you, because that's voter fraud. Skrulls can't vote in this country; they're not citizens.
No,
unless they were born here from two Skrulls, if they're from Dunkstown. Dunkstown Skrulls can vote if they're the second generation. Law, man. Doesn't matter how your parents got here. Soil citizenship. That's America.
Wrong.
It's good. Humans don't produce enough children. We need additional people to maintain our empire.
Because you'd be in jail.
That's what the Romans learned. It's like, you know what? Because once you actually have a sated life, humans don't have more than 1 or 2 children.
Get them out of here.
Like a couple of humans might have multiple children because that's just a thing for them. But very few people have that because children are a lot of work and very expensive. So most humans, I'm sorry.
Which a lot of people, if you do it right, which a lot of people don't. Just saying.
Well, yeah. Well, that's a whole other bag of hammers. But even then, not for nothing, the state steps in and says, "We're garnishing you."
Bad hombres.
And not for nothing, once you get garnished and you try to avoid the garnishment, suddenly you're like working really bad jobs. It's not a good deal. And the vast majority of humans who aren't sociopaths actually have an attachment to their offspring. That's the thing. It's like, most humans aren't sociopaths. Our president separated from that current understanding.
It can happen.
So most humans, when they have children, actually want to take care of them. At least that's my take on it. I don't know. But the point is that, I went political, I know. But the point is that the terms of service, in my mind, and everyone's throwing a fit about the terms of service, because, it's the internet. And you can do that now. The internet. Back in my day with AOL, we used the internet for sex chat. That's what it was for.
Canceled. That's why it's
what it was useful for.
for.
Our personal shame that we could share with others under a pseudonym.
Charlie, yes, there used to be an 18-year-old girl named Lola online. How dare you?
He was literally the brain.
Sure, I was a girl 15. I was totally legal.
You're the one sitting there saying, I'm so pretty. Too pretty for this room.
I am too pretty for this. Well, I'm not too pretty for this room. This world needs more pretty.
We got him!
Rob, I need that isolated.
I'm sorry. Am I really... I think I'm a beautiful man. I think I have very symmetrical features. I think that if I had been born a woman, I would have been a really knockout lesbian. Because I'm assuming that my sexual orientation would have been the same, but my gender might have been. That's normal.
We're talking Marvel. What if?
What if? What if I was born a girl, man? What if I was Virginia Astor? That would have been my name if I was a girl. My mom wanted to name me Virginia.
Where do we go from here?
I don't know.
Do you guys know your gender switch names that that if you had been something else, your parents would have told you, or were you all born in the age of ultrasound?
I was just named after my father, so I don't know what.
Okay.
My parents actually didn't want to know, and my first name is, it has a masculine equivalent. So.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you, Francis. I'm a Catholic, so I always assume it's Francis.
Okay, Deadpool.
That's a good name, man. St. Francis of Assisi was a great man. You should never hate on him. He was a great man. He loved animals, man. More than people. But you know what? Who could blame him?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. I knew Lilith would be on my side on that one.
Was there any good TV? Comic book TV?
I know. I was gonna say,
see the last Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Charlie wanted to talk Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., yeah.
Knock yourselves out, kiddos. I don't mind spoilers.
Because it's off.
Okay, so it was pretty awesome. And here's what is most awesome about it. So,
it was the Fitz episode, right?
Yes, the Fitz episode.
Yes, that was my favorite of the season.
Oh, Fitz is awesome. And Nick Bud's back. And Nick Bud basically says, yeah, me and Mockingbird are still together. We just realized that it's better when we're apart when we're together.
We'll just never see her on the show.
Ew. Not for nothing. She's got a gig.
Mm-hmm.
Marvel blew that, man.
DC blew
How do you lose an Adrian Pilecki?
Marvel and DC both blew that.
DC blew it twice.
DC, yeah. Don't get me started on DC, because they blew it. They blew it not because of Adrian Pilecki. They blew it because he just had a bad story.
You blew it!
I know.
I still say Marvel's Most Wanted is an amazing idea.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the pilot was. Maybe the pilot wasn't perfect. But imperfect pilots are the norm. The idea was amazing. Dominic Fortune, man. How do you walk away from Dominic Fortune? Played by was it Ving Rhames?
Oh, was it?
It was some very tall, older African American guy with a shaved head and a mustache.
It was the other guy that's not Ving Rhames, but everybody thinks is Ving Rhames. I bet you that's who it was. Because he did have a contract with
AOL. Probably was.
Because he did a couple of TV shows for ABC.
Yeah.
Not too long ago. So I would assume that's the guy you're thinking of and not Ving Rhames.
It's entirely possible because Ving Rhames is probably a little bigger than the guy. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head, but that's okay. But the point is that it was a really great idea for a show of basically going through Shield's X-Files with Nick Blood and Adrian Pilecki.
Hey, now that Disney acquired Fox, we could get an Agents of Shield X-Files crossover.
Oh, you're waiting for that, man. I want X-Files to discover, because it's an alternate universe. We have to accept that it's an alternate universe, but they're going to find the Brotherhood of the Shield, the Shield equivalent in X-Files. So mad we haven't had the Brotherhood of the Shield yet on Agents of Shield, because they so teased it in that first episode when what's his name? What is his name? The guy, the villain, the guy who the turncoat.
Oh, Ward.
And Ward says it tells me that whoever named this company really wanted our name to spell Shield. It's like, yes, that is what we've been waiting for. Why is that not something we're exploring?
But you jumped off this last episode, man. I loved it. Fitz is now like a badass because of his time in the framework, and
oh yeah. Well, he is. Well, honestly, Fitz had been a tough guy for a while.
But I think
Phil.
He came up
Phil,
another. Yeah, but he came up another notch.
This is a family show. He was a BA. He was a BA. And yes, he was a BA, and he's even more of a BA now from his time in the framework. And but here's what I thought was most fascinating. They didn't use the monolith to send him to the future, which raises this interesting question about what is the monolith, who has the monolith, how does the monolith work? Is the monolith set to a fixed point in time? So if he had sent Fitz through the monolith at like 2 seconds later, he would, or like 2 years later, he would still wind up at the same time.
Well, I think they.
In which case, why isn't? Yeah.
Didn't they say they couldn't activate it, and they didn't? I think they couldn't activate it. I don't know if it just went off at random times or someone else is controlling it, but I don't think they could turn it on.
Well, it's like that because they did that thing with the first monolith where they had to build the whole castle to make it work, so they could make it work.
So yeah.
But obviously, the math was harder with the time frame.
He had to travel into the future the old-fashioned way, cryostasis.
Yes, the Fry way.
We're stuck on Futurama, and I love it. I don't mind. By the way, just randomly, I love the Planet Express podcast. They do Futurama. I follow them on Twitter. They're really good. They're so passionate about the show. They know a lot of the secret like Easter eggs, like the owls and the language, and I just that's just a great podcast if you love Futurama.
It is a good show.
It is a very good show. Oh, it amazes me how nerdy the guys are. Like they all have like masters and PhDs and writing their own mathematic formulas. Futurama is it's really great, especially after it leaves Fox. It gets really good and interesting.
Yeah. So. Well, because of course you know what the whole thing with nerdery in general is that it feeds its own loop. And Phil, just so you know, that sound clip you're playing about nerds, it is from an episode of Simpsons when Homer goes to college. Yes, and he's shouting about nerds because he only knows college from movies. And his shouting of nerds is kind of weird to everyone because they're like, we're all nerds, we're in college. Yes. You hear only one voice. is Homer's voice shouting nerds because he doesn't understand that everyone is a nerd now. That we live in the future and everyone's a nerd. Okay? So I'm just making this point to you, Philip. That you understand that there's a context of the sound clip you're playing. Now, getting back to Futurama. Well, I mean, this is the basic Eloy versus the Morlocks concept about how certain ideas feed into themselves and lead to a separation of social constructs. Although, in truth, I think that all of humanity is moving in the nerd direction. Because I don't think it's easy to be a human without being a nerd in this day and age. You know, I think in this day and age, the social language is so steeped in nerdery that if you are not a nerd, you need to fake it. You know, which of course, you know, people have been faking nerdery for years because, you know, nerds are they're a desirable category to mate with.
Well,
you know,
plus, I mean, I think it's all big business now too.
Yeah.
Well, exactly.
The movies, the TV.
Yeah. You know, speaking of which, it was an interesting point that was made recently about Star Wars crossing. This is something we didn't talk about in Super Connectivity. Cross the line where the price that Disney paid for Lucas films actually has been crossed by the gross of the films. And it made me wonder, like, how much did they pay for Marvel? Like, how many times over has Marvel already repaid Disney?
Yeah, but wasn't Marvel, like, in the middle of bankruptcy or something?
Well, this was after their bankruptcy. So they'd actually surfaced from bankruptcy because Marvel was actually moving to be their own studio. They were actually doing the Marvel movies on their own by that point. They had restructured, they had come up, and someone was smart enough to rebuild Marvel. They were ready to go, and then Disney came up and said, you know what, we're going to buy you. Because that's what Disney does. Just like in Bugsy. You ever see Bugsy? With Madonna's ex-girlfriend and Madonna's ex-boyfriend and his future wife? Warren Beatty.
And yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yes. Anyway, okay. So there's a great scene in it where he's playing Bugsy Siegel, and he goes to this opera singer's house. And he's like, hey, I love your house. He's like, oh, you're Bugsy Siegel. And he's like, oh, you're the great famous mobster. He's like, yeah, I want to buy your house. He's like, oh, I can't sell you my house. He's like, no, I'm going to buy your house. How much you want? You want $1 million? You want $2 million? Like, $2 million sounds fair, I guess. He's like, okay, be out by this afternoon. And, you know, that's what Disney does. Except for Netflix. Netflix didn't want to play. We have to see historically if Netflix, and Disney just bought Hulu.
Well, they had an invested stake in it previously, though. So
I'm sorry, what?
Didn't they already have an invested stake in Hulu?
They had the invested stake in Hulu, but now they have the 60%.
Oh, okay.
That came with Fox.
Because they bought Fox, and they get Fox's share in Hulu, assuming the government goes along. But Disney...
All they have to do is grease a few wheels. Come on, be serious.
Well, see, not for nothing. This is that, like, long-term strategy of Disney. Because whereas Time Warner is dealing with all this stuff about CNN and whatnot, Disney's like, we don't have a news channel, man. We had no problems with anybody.
We leave that at Fox. They can have that crap.
Exactly. And they didn't take over Fox.
That's the best way to be.
Maybe even in their own brilliance on it.
That's the best way to be. If you have a business, big or small, if you have a business, keep your mouth shut. Politically,
yeah.
Have no.
There is a great wisdom in that, and Disney is following.
Other than you should buy our product. That's the only opinion you should have.
I just want to loop back around to Marvel's Most Wanted, Dominic Fortune, because I knew his name and I had to search for it because he's a really great actor. He's been in a lot of great things. It's Delroy Lindo, who is Ving Rhames' celebrity doppelganger.
There we go. Okay, well, but still, it would have been great. See Dominic Fortune ever since Marvel Team Up. When he first appeared in mainstream Marvel. I think he appeared in like Marvel's Epic line first. But then he came back and Marvel team up, and I've loved him since then because he was this aging superhero with the and he was like this old 1940s hero, and had the little Lugers on his side.
So you're gonna love Black Lightning if you like that storyline.
I do. I think I'm gonna like Black Lightning. I just hope I have time to watch it. I'm looking forward to Black Lightning. I've never had a bad word for Black Lightning.
It's the legend spot, so you'll have time.
Yeah, I just hope. I see. My only negative on Black Lightning is I wish he was called Black Vulcan, and was wearing the short shorts.
Give it time. He might dress up for Halloween.
Yeah. I know Black Vulcan isn't canon, but Black Vulcan was my Black Lightning.
Well, you know what? Wonder Twins weren't canon, and then they became canon, and then thank God they erased it from the canon. So,
Marvin and Wendy became canon.
Marvin and Wendy are canon, as is Wonder Dog. And they killed them in the Teen Titans episode. No, in a Teen Titans issue. There was a whole comic book resources. Brian Cronin did a whole Legends about it. And yeah, see, I'm not cool with that when they bring the character in just to kill them or just to make fun of them.
Don't watch
Wendy and Marvin were cool, and Zen and Jaina were cool. I thought that they were both very cool.
Wrong.
Zen and Jaina were cool. No, Zen and Jaina. First off, as they make the point of on Teen Titans, Jaina can become any animal and isn't always green. So she's actually really useful. And Zen, although they don't mention it, can become a freaking ice giant. He has this amazing power to just become an ice giant. Because anything made of ice he can become, and he can say, I'm an ice giant. And he's like, oh, dude, why don't you do that every time? He can become an ice pterodactyl. It can be an ice anything. And it's like, oh, okay, so you can be this creature. And so Zan gets the bad thing because animation was such, which when they do the 1970s animation, or actually 1980s animation, because they use the exact same Hanna-Barbera character designs from the 80s Teen Titans cartoon that was supposed to happen but never did. And they make the point that Beast Boy can only become one animal, which is the donkey. But that's actually not his power set. His power set, he's going to become any animal. And Zan can become any structure made of H2O. And H2O is an insanely versatile chemical. And more to the point, he is not limited by mass. So he can become an ice fortress if he so decides. And that's why Zan is an amazingly hyper-powerful character.
And the kids
just doesn't
dig it, man. So
I'm just saying,
I don't know. It just seems to me like there's always easy ways to defeat these water-based superpowers.
Yeah, well, you just put electricity to them. Except ice is not a good conductor of electricity. And I can just see that someone hitting with electricity says, oh, didn't you know? Ice is not a good conductor of electricity the same way water is. Because water is not actually a good conductor of electricity. It is only impurities within water that make water a good conductor of electricity.
Like say
essentially that various other chemicals within water is what the electrons jump off of in the water. And the water allows those dispersed chemicals to be a conductor. But actually pure water is not a good conductor of electricity at all. So there you go. Hydro Man should not be defeated by electricity unless he's been rolling around in the dirt all day, which he usually is.
He also wearing that dirty T-shirt. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Pigpen? What? Are we talking Charlie Brown?
It's the dirt in the water, not the water that is the conductor. That's all I'm saying.
Was that the only comic book show out this week?
I think so, because I think everything else is on break, correct?
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. Well, because it's on Friday, so it's the last one. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not on tonight. I don't believe.
No, there's nothing on tonight.
So,
read any good comic books?
Comics. I know where Lilith's going. Lilith. Phoenix Resurrection #1?
Oh, I didn't finish that one yet.
It's my favorite. Well, Marvel. It's my favorite Marvel this
No
week.
kidding.
I'm biased. I don't care. I love Jean Grey.
So
Except for other Jean Greys. I like original. Extra.
E3 jeans.
So
We 3 jeans all think it's a shame that we are all one and the same. We're elected to be resurrected again and again and again.
That might be where they got it.
Yes, I remember all of the Marvel Christmas carols from a late 80s issue. I want to say it was of What the. And they had Marvel Christmas carols, and that was one of them. Was We 3 Jeans. There's always, we wish you would buy more X-Men. We wish you would buy more X-Men. We wish you would buy more X-Men. And the annuals, too. The stories we bring have a certain something. We wish you would buy more X-Men and the annuals, too.
Oh, I do want to bring up something that I did actually pick up from Alterna Comics. You guys remember that we were supposed to be talking about Alterna Comics. Just waiting on everybody to finish up.
It's not an Archie, is it? Because that's not alternative, man.
No, Alterna. The comics that we were supposed to be
Alterna.
doing. Yeah, Doppelganger #1 is out. I just want to remind you guys. It's pretty fun.
Oh yeah?
Okay, cool. What happens?
Gotta buy it. They need help. Gotta buy it.
Oh man. Now I gotta buy it.
What is that, #1?
Yeah, it's #1, so jump on the bandwagon early.
Yeah, see, the only problem is, Lilith, I have no money. So I can afford apple juice for me and food for my family.
They're the more affordable comics. This is only $1.50.
Lilith, did you
That's tempting. Are they available digitally?
I believe so. Through their website, you have to purchase it on like Etsy or something if you want to do the digital download thing.
I have to create an Etsy account.
You already have an Etsy account. Your wife doesn't have an Etsy account. Who does not have an Etsy account?
Okay, look, we're not millennials. We're not craftsters. We buy things at stores. That's who we are. We're old people.
Oh.
Yeah,
I know. You're millennials and you're... Why, just go to the website and there's a person that'll make it for you.
Remember who he is, Lilith.
Oh, no.
Oh, music to my ears.
I swear, my childhood didn't even have that. We had DSL, so I don't know.
I'm sure. I am certain that is the case.
Ooh, too fancy.
In my day, we had to listen to dial-up modem.
She's like, my childhood was so horrible. I actually had to use
KBS
CDs. Oh.
Kilobytes per second.
Actually, the last CD that I bought up until recently was Jay-Z's Blueprint. It dropped on 9/11/2001. Up until like a year and a half ago, that was the very last physical CD I ever purchased. Yeah, I'm terrible.
9/11/2001?
Yep, Jay-Z's Blueprint.
Oh, Jay-Z. Well, you know.
Lilith, did you pick up the next part of Venom Inc.?
I did. Did you read it?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I don't know. It was kind of weird. Well, I haven't read the Venom parts. I've just been reading the Amazing Spider-Man, and that was kind of weird because Spider-Man was kind of taken over by that Venom symbiote on his head.
I don't know. I think they're doing a pretty good job with this Venom.
Yeah, false advertising. He did not run into. Is that supposed to be J. Jonah Jameson? He did not run into him.
That doesn't look like J. Jonah Jameson.
Well, who's
okay, J. Jonah Jameson has a brush cut. That guy doesn't have a brush cut. I don't see a Hitler stash on him. Sorry, a Chaplin stash.
I don't know. I think they're doing a good job with Venom. But all good things have to come to an end. So.
And now Flash Thompson is anti-Venom.
I wish they would really stop trying to make Flash Thompson happen. Just saying.
Flash Thompson is awesome.
Flash Gordon, yes. Flash Thompson.
Flash Thompson was so cool, they stole him for Smallville.
Are you talking about Whitney?
Yeah, Whitney.
Boyfriend?
Who names a male character Whitney?
Smallville.
Yeah.
Well, Glenn.
Yes, Whitney comes back and he's like, "Oh, I'm a soldier and I have trauma." It's like, "Oh, yeah, that was cooler when Flash Thompson did it." You know.
We don't talk about the first season of Smallville around here.
Well, Whitney didn't become Flash Thompson until like the third season of Smallville.
I thought it was the second, but
It might have been the second. All I remember is that they had him walking through someplace in upstate New York and bombs going. It really did not. It was not like, it's Afghanistan. It's like, okay, sure, it's Afghanistan.
they were in Vancouver. Leave them alone.
Yeah.
They weren't even in Toronto where you could,
Toronto doesn't look like Afghanistan either. It looks like actually a really clean, well-maintained human city. It's actually really nice. That's my dream, man. Move to Toronto.
There was so much Spider-Man this week. Ben Reilly, Scarlet Spider, Amazing
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man.
You feel like Batman.
Renew your vows.
Well, because Spider-Man is Marvel's Batman. He's like the one character that everyone likes.
And then not quite as...
Well, so you run it into the ground, and then you have backlash.
Oh, in the last issue of Spider-Man 2, Charlie, it seems like the Ultimate Universe is still there.
Yeah, I read the spoilers on that. Yeah, well, not for nothing. That's the multiversal concept. Every universe still exists.
Nothing ever dies.
But you completely ended everything. There's another one where it completely continued.
So here's my question. That Ultimate Thor, you saw him on a page in there, and he was holding that Warhammer. So where did that Warhammer that Volstagg was using come from?
From another universe.
So
there's a billion trillion Ultimate Universes, Phil. So Phil, I can't believe I have to explain multiple universe theory to you.
No, I got it.
Yeah, it's an infinite number. So every universe that comes into existence, there's an infinite number of those. From the very first second it comes into existence to the very last second it collapses in on itself. That's multiplicity. That's the whole point of when the whole was ripped to the Beyonder universe, and suddenly Beyonder Prime, Frank from Beyond, experienced multiplicity. Because prior to multiplicity, he only existed as a singularity. And once he was exposed to multiplicity, he became infected by multiplicity, which is why the Beyonders wanted to destroy multiplicity. But you can't destroy multiplicity once you're already infected with multiplicity, because then you become multiplicity itself. Essentially, because that hole was ripped in the universe by the Molecule Man, reaching out to Frank from Beyond, multiplicity infected all things, and all things become
Michael Keaton movie for a second. I'm sorry, I zoned out.
That's okay. So did I.
Nice.
That's a terrible movie, by the way. No, don't ever go see it.
Well, multiplicity with Birdman himself.
Yeah, that's not his best. That's not his Kanye best at all.
Coco Beware. What?
But it's the three guys from nowhere. I love those guys. And they open the pizza. And yeah, the copy. They played a little too much for comedy. And it really was kind of offensive to people who might have mental difficulties. But at that point, we didn't know any better. That was like 5 years ago.
It was the 80s or early 90s.
Oh, yes.
Early 90s, yeah. No, I mean, up until that point, I liked Multiplicity. And actually, I still liked it because they did play it for comedy, and they didn't like make the guy feel bad about it. They were actually all very loving to him. You know, it's just they just had him throwing pizzas out of his bike, which was like weird, which they didn't do to the end. And the three guys from nowhere, I thought was pretty cool. And I like the idea of, okay, so he's your feminine side, and he's your masculine side, and here is your copy of your copy. And how, you know, cloning yourself is a very difficult thing because it's not an exact clone.
Bazinga.
which makes sense within the concept of modern genetics, because even if you did take a copy of the genome, there are errors that creep in every time it reproduces, and of course, each time it reproduces, as you're imprinting things, it's not always going to imprint the same. Basically, it's an analog format. It's not a digital format, and that's the thing.
So we hit the singularity, and we all become cyborgs.
No, that's even worse. Because then you don't recognize the failures in the digital format. Because there are errors in the digital format too. It's not a one-for-one basis. It's never a one-for-one basis because there's always errors. Perfection cannot exist in a universe filled with entropy.
Oh, yes.
That's the thing. Entropic doom is inevitable. Embrace it, Lilith.
All right, if I have to. What was your favorite Marvel book this week?
Who, me?
Me, the unbeatable the unbelievable Gwenpool. I'm sorry, are we asking Phil?
No, you.
Yeah, the unbelievable Gwenpool, because it totally embraces its own sense of both its separation from reality and reality's interaction within it. And it has a great scene about, so after Gwenpool has recreated original Doom to battle, because she doesn't want to fight good Doom. And then you have this idea of good Doom resurrecting himself, and they all come into the alternate, in the space between the pages, which Doom is like, this is just another universe, I'm fine with it. And Gwenpool is like, no, this shouldn't be cool for you. And honestly, it's just amazing. I highly recommend everyone read it. Gwenpool recognizes that her book has been canceled.
Oh.
And it's such a beautiful moment to have her say, I can see my book is canceled, because you can see how many pages are left in her book. And she sees she's done. And how does she continue? Because she knew her story could continue. But if she wanted to be a hero and not be a villain, not destroy the Marvel Universe, her book would end. And it's that very complex choice. Now, she says in the end of this episode that she needs to become a villain. The next time we see her back with Batroc, her buddy, entering into villainy. But I'm excited to see where Gwenpool goes. It's a book ended too soon, but you know what? If the story ends, the story ends. As I was telling Phil earlier, not every book needs to go for 800 issues or 1,000 issues like that. Any of the books that are about to go to 1,000 issues because they got started in the 30s. You know what? Sometimes you tell the story and you stop. And then maybe later you come up with a new story and tell that story then.
And then you rebrand it with Marvel Legacy and restart the numbering from.
They only did that for 2 months. It was a sales ploy.
The numbering back.
We all knew it was we all knew it was a sales ploy when they did it. It was like, hey, this is what Marvel does. Hey, here's our latest sales ploy. You're interested in it? Yeah, let's get some of those sales ploys. Because it's fun to buy sales ploys. It's like when you buy one, you get one free, and then you get the two, Or even buy one, get the second half off. You are enticed to buy the second one, even if you don't need it, because the reversed price is 25% off. So yeah, I mean, Marvel Legacy, it is what it is. I mean, it's an idea that came up. People liked it. I enjoyed it. I have no problem with Marvel Legacy. But I didn't think Marvel Legacy was going to go beyond 3 or 4 issues.
It's still going.
As far as the weird numbering. You know how you knew Marvel Legacy wasn't going to go a long time? Because they brought back a lot of books for just their last issue. Here's what Power Pack has been doing. Here's what Shang-Chi has been doing. Here's what this character has been doing. You know,
Wrap it up.
wrap it up, man. And you know what? For what it's worth, Gwenpool was in that mix. Gwenpool was in all the Marvel Legacy, and that's how you knew, man. She knew she was dying. You know what it is? It's the Jane Foster Thor story, but with consequences.
Oh yes.
Ooh. Okay.
Because Gwenpool actually knows she's about to end. And she knows after a conversation with Deadpool, who told her, look, man, anyone who doesn't read your book doesn't know you're not supposed to be Gwen Stacy. And really hit her hard right where she lived. And, you know, she knows that. She knows her death is coming. She knows, or not even her death, because she probably knows that it ends on an up note. That, oh, I'm going to continue on in the Marvel Universe, but I won't be here. No one's going to know me. No one's going to see me. And, you know, it is by far a worse fate because Gwenpool's fate is oblivion. And she knows it's oblivion. It's not, you know, when we as sentient beings die, we don't know what happens. Maybe we go to an afterlife. Maybe it's oblivion. Maybe we just get stuck in a loop of some moment in our life. We don't know what exactly happens to our consciousness because we don't even understand what consciousness is. Gwenpool knows when her pages end, she goes to oblivion. And the universe will continue as if she never existed until some writer brings her back. And it's much like the 200th episode of Teen Titans Go, where they must embrace the fact that they are being written out of existence and they fade away. Now, fortunately, because Teen Titans Go is on a very aggressive schedule and makes a lot of money for the Warner's industry,
Somebody
gets brought back almost immediately. And the Teen Titans go, oh, we've been brought back. Yay! But it is almost the exact same thing, except Gwenpool is not Teen Titans. So when she gets written out, she's going to fade away. Yeah. They only push the merch so far. People need to buy the merch for people to enjoy the merch. And unfortunately, I'm not rich right now. I hope to be after tomorrow when I'm back to making when I apply for it, when I go to my interview for a job that may pay me a decent wage again, and I can actually be in that comfortable middle class once more. But I have to see what happens.
And on that note,
it ain't gonna be easy up until that point.
What was your favorite Marvel book? You better not be anything with Ben Reilly in here. We're gonna fight.
All right, changing my pick. No, you know who's had an interesting legacy storyline? Its legacy is still going on. Moon Knight.
Oh, that guy.
Quite the surprise at the end of this one.
Is that?
I thought they ended Moon Knight after the whole Werewolves on the Moon arc.
It's back.
Oh, it came back?
Legacy, yeah.
Okay, so they brought him back with Legacy. Okay, is he going to continue after tonight?
Yeah. This is like the second or third issue in Legacy, yeah.
Oh, sweet. Good for Moon Knight.
But
yeah,
he has a kid he didn't know.
That Marvel Netflix show.
He has a kid he didn't know about because one of his other personalities
is it Damian Moon Knight?
Impregnated his girlfriend. What?
Whoa.
Is it Damian Moon Knight?
Who?
His kid. Is it Damian Moon Knight?
No, it's a little girl.
Okay.
Damian Moon Knight.
No. Okay, Phil just got it right away.
Right away.
Leave me alone. But yeah, no.
He's like the third copy.
Moon Knight's been good. Charlie, did you say you wanted to talk about Iron Man?
Before? Yeah. Oh, and speaking of children, who else is having a child?
Phil,
did you miss that? Do you read these books?
Wait, what book are you talking about?
Iron Man. Invincible Iron Man.
Who's pregnant? Tony Stark's been reborn. What are you?
Who's the other Iron Man in that book?
Is it the Ironheart?
Are you saying Riri's pregnant?
No, who's the Iron Man in that book?
Doom.
And who does he visit? At the very start of the book.
Okay, Amara, yeah.
And what is in her purse? Where they pretty much, like, sticking out of her purse, it says prenatal
Vitamins?
Okay.
That's what it's implied, yeah.
I was trying to figure out what that was. I didn't get prenatal, Charlie. Again, I'm slow. Sorry.
It's PRENAT. Phil, you have a child.
So whose
How
kid?
did you not know what your wife was taking during that time?
So whose kid is it? Is it Tony Stark's?
No, she never had sex with Tony Stark. She had sex with Dr. Doom.
Did?
Yeah.
She's got herself a doctor.
Technically, as Tony points out, he actually has several doctorates as well. He just does not insist that everyone call a doctor every time he meets them.
Okay, sorry, I didn't get that. So we're gonna have a Doom Jr. Okay.
That's, well, assuming it's a boy.
Or Doomette, I don't know.
Well, Doom's previous child is a female. So it's entirely possible that his Y chromosomes are better chromosomes than his X chromosomes. So I'm wagering it's going to be a female. It's another female Doom, and then you're going to have a conflict between his daughter with Morgan Le Fay and his actual daughter.
Just as long as he doesn't try to plug his brain into this one like he did Kristoff.
Oh, Kristoff wasn't his kid.
I know.
Kristoff was
adopted.
Nathaniel Richards' kid.
Everyone's Nathaniel Richards' kid.
Yeah, that man did like to get around.
I don't know when he had time to put on pants.
Who said he ever did? That's why it's called The Shield. It covers on any of the naughty bits while you watch.
So, can I talk about the worst $5 I spent this week?
Oh,
what was your $5? What book did you buy for $5?
$5.
Yeah, the worst $5 I spent this week. Doomsday Clock number 2. Did it? Come on, they're killing me.
Why? Why? What was your big problem?
I didn't get sucked into the story. All I just see is just gratuitous dollar signs. It's all that I see.
They had to get to the proper DC universe. They have 12 issues, Lilith. They have to stretch it out.
So from the spoilers I read, so they're flying the owl ship through quantum space for a reason.
Ozymandias has rebuilt it or whatever, yeah, so.
But why wouldn't it be smarter to just build a quantum traversing ship? Because it's not like the owl ship was particularly like a interstellar ship. It was just a local, puddle hopper.
I cannot believe Jeff Johns actually wrote this. I am so disappointed.
Hey, but guess who's back? Because I read the spoilers. Read the spoilers. It's actually a good book, Lola. That's what I'll tell you.
The comedian!
Yeah, just read the spoilers. The spoilers are great.
A great face.
Well, but you know what's important about the... Okay, look. You know what's important about the comedian being back? It's important because it means this is not the Watchmen universe. Basically, this is DC's take on the post Secret Wars 2 or Secret Wars. We're not going to call it 4 because it's technically the 4th Secret Wars. Okay,
stealing from Marvel again.
They're always. How many original ideas did DC had? They had Superman. They had Batman.
They're just like Alan Moore. They didn't have an original idea in their life.
No. DC had 3, maybe 4 if you count the Flash, 5 if you count Green Lantern. They actually had some original ideas
back in the day.
Back in the day. Yeah, basically DC was the 40s. Marvel was the 60s.
And the 50s. Yeah.
No, the 50s was all cowboy comics. Nobody cares about that.
Barry Allen was created in the 50s.
Yeah,
And Hal
but
Jordan.
that's okay, but both of those are just
Yeah.
pastiches of the earlier DC work.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's an original idea. It's like, we're going to redo the Green Lantern. We're going to redo the Flash. It's like, yeah, okay. Because we have no original ideas. We used all of our 6 original ideas back in the 40s.
Oh, yes.
And then, Kirby just redid characters for Captain America and the Human Torch. These were all, those were actually much more interesting and deeper characters because they played with ideas of what is, humanity in general. And Namor as well. But and Namor, of course, predates Aquaman because
only by a couple of months. But anyway.
A couple of months, yeah.
Literally.
Enough. And not for nothing, Namor had the boldness to go nude or to go bikini.
I was going to say, yeah, bare-chested.
So he's the Charlie Esser of
bare-chested in banana hammocks. He's European, you can tell.
Yeah, well, I got too much back hair to go naked nowadays. I'm too self-conscious about my back hair. When it was just chest hair, I was cool with it. But once it's like growing back there, then it's like, I don't know.
So
I could shave my back, but then I just feel like I'm manscaped. I don't know. Doesn't feel right. Are you
reading Nightwing New Order, Phil?
Yes, I am.
How's it going?
It's all right. I don't know. It's all who the Blue Lantern is in this future?
Who?
Lois Lane.
Which Lois Lane?
The Lois Lane.
Okay, there's like no shenanigans?
No.
Okay.
And in this,
I was gonna have to preface it.
Wait, which ones are the Blue Lanterns?
Hope.
Oh, so that's the ones that need another lantern to actually have give them power.
Yeah, Green Lanterns.
Isn't that sad?
Charge them up.
Yeah.
The Hope Lanterns need other people. That's so sad.
Oh, and since but they explained when they show Superman and Lex working together here because since all superpowers have become outlawed and stuff, so those two have come to an understanding. But they reveal what's the event that set off Nightwing where he tried to take everyone's powers away. Well, besides the whole big battle in Metropolis. Before that.
Did someone kill his girlfriend?
Kind of. Batman killed Superman. I mean, Superman killed Batman.
Okay, so he killed his boyfriend.
The story we need in Justice League 2, to be honest.
Yes!
I said it!
Nightwing crushes them all! Yes!
Okay, not for nothing.
I know they'll never kill off Superman or Batman. It's the Justice League.
Kill him!
Did Superman kill him in a mean way? Was there a reason why Superman killed him?
That they really haven't gone into the whole reason yet. But
fried him like chicken.
So I'm just gonna go off on a limb here and say, why are these characters so petty?
Because
it's DC.
They have godlike powers.
No, that should make them less petty.
Why did you say that name? Charlie, it's the universe of why did you say that name?
No, but what I'm saying is, okay, so let me give you an example. We don't have superheroes in our universe, but we do have amazingly powerful states with nuclear weapons. And generally speaking, even the most petty country with nuclear weapons isn't going around throwing them at people. Isn't, generally speaking, rubbing their genitalia on other things. Yeah, they do it on like the place that's right close to their genitalia, but they're not doing it on like a massive scale. Because at the end of the day, no, really, even our guy,
no,
he's not. He wants to. Trust me, he wants to with so much passion, but Because the world doesn't allow that nonsense. And the idea that, we have superpowers, so we are unstoppable. It's like, no. Yeah, first off, you're not unstoppable. Second off, you're not the only people with superpowers. And even if you wanted to outlaw all superpowers, it's like it doesn't stop superpowers from existing. Just like we can ban any nuclear research as we wanted, the science still exists. It's not like you can't just make a nuclear bomb tomorrow. So I don't know. It just strikes me as anything where you're saying we're going to outlaw this that is a natural part of the universe. It seems ridiculous to me.
Wrong.
Don't care if you say wrong, Phil. It's so ridiculous.
I didn't say anything.
It's like how when they try to get rid of the X-Men's powers, it's just like, yeah, it's not going to stick. Whatever.
No, because not only is it not going to stick because it helps the story, but it's not going to stick because this is human evolution.
Exactly.
It's like this is where humanity is moving towards. You can put as many freaking roadblocks in front of it. That's kind of what causes evolution, as the high evolutionary would point out to you. It's like that actually is doing my job. That was in the Evolutionary Wars when he had his big fight with Apocalypse over the mutant moloid. And basically, they came to a draw, and the high evolutionary said, "Oh, dude, you're doing my job for me." Because the evolutionary didn't want Apocalypse to kill the mutant moloid that had psychic powers. If I'm remembering correctly, I could have the characters reversed here. But basically, he says, all you're doing by thwarting people is just forcing evolution to go faster. You're not actually achieving what you think you're achieving. You're achieving what I want it to achieve.
Ask Lil the question.
Best comic books from the 90s, man. 80s and 90s. That was the peak of comic books. Yes. Everything since then. It's good.
That's right.
Don't get me wrong. I like it. I love it.
Millennials don't know that.
I do.
It's enjoyable, but the fact of the matter is that, it's like, I don't know how they're going to do another big event like they used to do.
Secret Wars. Secret Wars 2.
But it was at least better than the first one.
Secret Wars 2 was better than the first Secret Wars. Yeah.
It was more expansive.
Exactly. It's what you were hoping for when you heard about Secret Wars the first time.
And honestly, I actually really thought Secret Wars 3, which was the miniseries they did with where the Stranger recreated Battle World. I thought that was a pretty good unit. I thought that was a great story. And I love the Stranger statement on that, is that basically at the end of all things, the two things that will exist are humans and cockroaches. Because humans survive everything, and he wanted to find out why humans survive everything. Like, why are these creatures so dang resilient? Meanwhile, the force of life in the universe is housed on our planet. So it kind of makes sense. Just pure propinquity. Humans exist close to Gaia, and that is why humans have superpowers. Because Gaia is the third of the elder gods. And is the goddess of life, and she found her home on Earth. So everything else in the universe is fed from that force that came from Earth. And that's why humans, even though we're crazy, weird things, but then again, all three of the elder gods came from Earth. Both death, magic, and life. Magic being the force between life and death. That's Chithon, Set, and Gaia. But all of that expands out throughout the universe. But from Earth, it's from, and so we don't even realize how influenced by the magic we are.
Oh, yes.
Or the characters in the actual fictional universe are. In real life, we're just, a set of creatures on a floating dust mote in the cosmos of mostly nothing. Because the universe is, of course, mostly nothing. That on average, the universe does not exist because most of the universe is nothing. unless you count space as a tangible thing, in which case universe is mostly everything because space has a physical property.
Charlie, stop it. You have a little crying over there.
But that's Einsteinian physics versus Newtonian physics. And Einsteinian physics says that the universe is mostly something, which is space-time, which is an actual physical entity. Newton would just say it is nothing.
I read something that might
But Newton's observations are human observations, whereas Einstein's observations are just one step beyond. That's why Newton, he was good at math. We'll say that about Newton. He was good at math. Newton and Tesla, guys who get way more hype than they deserve. Guys who were good at math.
You watch your back for those time traveling junkies that put all their hopes on Tesla. You just watch your back there, Charlie.
First off, if you've actually developed time travel, you're not worrying about Tesla or Newton. You're like Einstein and Edison.
Yes.
Or if not Edison, one of the guys who actually worked for Edison and continued to create. Not a guy like Tesla who was like, no, dude, I can totally do that. I can do that. Let me get some more pigeons. I just need more pigeons. That's what I need to create. Like, dude, man, no.
Those Tesla fanboys are going to get you, Charlie. I did read a book that might be up your alley, though, Charlie.
Which is?
It's by IDW. It's Back to the Future Tales from the Time Train.
Ooh.
It is $4.
Ooh.
But it's very interesting, and it's all about Doc Brown. So I thought this might be up your alley.
No. Is this set in the cartoon universe, or is this its own universe?
I think it's its own universe.
Because you remember there was the cartoon with Doc Brown and Jules and Vern.
No, it's
and that whole
Clara in it, so they haven't.
Well, no, because it was Doc Brown, Clara, Jules, and Vern.
They haven't.
And they had a cartoon.
Them yet. It's just him and Clara and the barber right now. So
there's a barber? I don't know the barber. Okay, so this might be interesting. Okay.
Just thought I'd bring that one up. I like Back to the Future, but I'm more 1 and 2. 3 I wasn't really big on because I don't like Western kind of thing. So
yeah, see, I liked 1. 2 was, I liked them all. They're all okay, They all
have their pros and their cons, but 1 and 2, I will always sit down and watch if I stumble across it. 3, I'm just like, I gotta be hella bored.
See, what I'll always say is that 1 is the best, and 2 and 3 were kind of their money grab.
They were chasing their magic, and you just couldn't recapture that lightning. Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know if I probably have only seen 2 once or twice. I've seen 1 and 3 many times. 2 kind of is kind of the forgotten.
2 doesn't hold up after the 4th watch. I'll just say that 4 watches.
Okay.
You don't ever need to watch it again.
Yeah. Though I like Biff as a character.
What the hell is
that?
Because
he has kind of the most emotional arc, between how everything that happens in his life affects him. You never get to revisit dweeby McFly. Whereas Biff, you get to see all of his different facets throughout the entire series. And I think that's cool. I wish Helene Glover had come back. I don't know what caused problems with that, Crispin.
Stars, man,
Yeah, here's what I'll tell you. I'm guessing that Glover has some money. I'm guessing the Glover family has money, somewhere, because he's an actor who walks away from jobs, and it's what I'll say about
hands off her.
What's weird about Crispin Glover? It's not like he goes for this is an important job. It's just I'm going to do this because this seems fun. He's kind of like the Burt Reynolds of artsy of I don't even say art films because it's weird. Crispin Glover's casting choices are just very strange. See, Burt Reynolds used to basically make his decision on what films he would do by basically what the location was. And if it was in a good location, he'd do the film, which is why there's a lot of really bad Burt Reynolds films and a lot of really good Burt Reynolds films. Because he wasn't basing it on the script, he was basing it on the setting. Because he wanted to go to that setting, and after he was on the show, go do whatever it was in that setting.
Smokey the Bandit is Burt Reynolds, right?
I'm sorry, what?
Smokey the Bandit is Burt Reynolds, right?
Yeah.
All like 7 of those movies.
No, not all 7.
Like 3 of them, right?
Okay, so the third one was Snowman, because Burt Reynolds didn't do the third.
Okay.
I don't know if there was a 4th.
A lot of Smokey the Bandit movies.
90s reboot. But yeah, no, he did the first 2. Third one came out. And then when the third one came out, which was in 3D, because that was during the era when the third installment was always in 3D. We were so close to having Return of the Jedi in 3D. Let me tell you.
Like,
oh my god, I couldn't imagine.
Yeah. Yes, but the third one, and in the third one, he didn't want to do it. And when the I can't remember the characters, the villains of the piece, basically they wanted to do another Smokey and the Bandit. Basically, it's an interesting take because it is in its own way a testament about studios wanting something that isn't going to happen. Because basically, the 2 rich guys who are the antagonists throughout the entire series said they want to do Smokey and the Bandit run again, but Bandit won't do it. So they said, "Well, get someone else to do it." And so they get the Snowman, who is his, who had the refrigerator truck, who was his like backup, and they get him, and he's like, "I get to be the Bandit. I get to be the Bandit." It is such a meta series. And then you have, of course, they bring back Jackie Gleason as Buford T. Justice. Because that's the whole thing. They want to get Buford T. Justice to chase the Bandit again. But they can't get the Bandit, and Buford T. Justice is retired. It is such a beautiful meta piece. Smokey and the Bandit Part 3. And I'm going to tell you right now, the treatment is so much better than the movie.
As our life.
Sony films. Unlike Superman 3, which was just good.
Nope, we're not talking that. Have you seen Star Wars yet, Charlie? Do you plan on seeing
Star
Wars?
I planned on seeing it, but then I ran out of money again because apparently you need money to do things in our society. And no.
Sometimes.
Yeah, well, I got like 2 kids I got to sneak in. Look, I can sneak into a movie with the best of them. I was a young man once. But the fact of the matter is, I got 2 kids that are harder to sneak in.
Like, are you a hardcore Star Wars fan, or
not really? No, I mean,
like a casual Star Wars fan.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I mean, it's no Star Trek, but I don't watch the current Star Treks either because they're bad. So it's like,
yeah, you do. It's called the Orville.
Well, yeah, I watch Orville. Honestly, I think Star Trek's a TV series. I don't know if Star Trek is really a movie series. That's my own take on Star Trek. Because I think half the joy of Star Trek is that it continues on. Star Wars, I mean, I liked The Force Awakens a lot. I would certainly, if I had the money, be going to see The Last Jedi. And if I can find the money somewhere, I will certainly go see The Last Jedi. I actually promised
feels though, like Rogue One and stuff like that.
Oh no, I haven't seen Rogue One yet. I'd like to see Rogue One. It's on Netflix, but it's like, you know what it is? Here's the thing: is like it's this weird thing about like streaming videos. It's like, okay, so now I have to actually make time to watch this film, and it's like, can I make time? So when films had a set time when they aired, and you had to go watch it at that time, you would schedule for that time. When you don't need to schedule for the time, suddenly there's so many other things you could be doing. And this is why I think cinema will always exist. But I think streaming movies are not the moneymaker that people think they're going to be. Because having me sit down for 2 hours to watch a show in my living room is really hard.
What she said.
Okay, Phil. It's hard to get me to sit down and watch Rogue One right now, even though I have no problem with watching Rogue One. I'd like to watch Rogue One. But honestly, it's like, okay, so to watch Rogue One, I either have to pull it up on my phone or pull it up on the computer, which means I have to put the computer where I can watch it from a comfortable space. The Wii U to bring up Netflix and watch it there. It's so many more steps that I have to schedule time for, whereas when it was in the theater, I just had to schedule time to go to the theater. Appointment viewing actually has a deep advantage that I think is going to come more and more back. And this is how capitalism is going to play out, because essentially the shows that you want to see are going to only be available in that scheduled format. And stuff that's going to be on the streaming is going to be stuff like you can watch anytime. That's my take on it. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Phil, how about you? Did you like Rogue One?
Rogue One or Last Jedi?
Nope, Rogue One. I already
Rogue One.
know you guys had a review for.
Yeah. Rogue One was all right. I mean, just the nature of the thing makes it kind of different, but everyone was there for Darth Vader.
Yeah, exactly. I ever since Disney, I always had that thing, they're gonna really be making Star Wars movies for the next 25 years. I don't, is that franchise sustainable enough? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's every 2 years you get the main story, and every other year, because we were on Super Connectivity, we were just talking about the Han Solo movie coming out next.
Yep. And it's just it's one thing to watch something you really love, like the original trilogy. I really love everything after the prequels. I have no patience for. So, outside of the books and Star Wars, Star Wars Clone Wars, that stuff, I just have no patience for it.
But I mean, The Force Awakens was good, and Last Jedi was good. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if we need one every year. Well,
so Lilith,
they're trying to follow.
Would you go see a Splinter in a Jedi's Eye movie? If they did that as I'm sorry, what?
If it was made for TV.
Okay.
I don't know that I would go to the actual movie theater to see it, but if it was made for TV.
See,
or the thing you can do on demand. That's
not for nothing.
Schedule appointment time for.
But what I'm going to tell you is that is what Disney may do, because it's going to allow them to recast everyone with their younger selves.
Mm-hmm.
And if they recast everyone with their younger selves, now they can do all of that stuff that happened between the Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. So they can do another 3-4 films in between.
That's what I mean. I've been just so terrified of them milking this franchise and just really ruining it and tainting it. I mean, George Lucas did enough with his little remakes, additions, and stuff, but
I just think they never gave Jar Jar the chance.
Misa think you crazy.
I can understand Jar Jar Binks from a storytelling perspective for the younger kids that this was their first introduction to Star Wars. He literally grows up with those kids who were introduced to that. But I hate him as a character. It's kind of like the Ewoks. It's like if you're a certain age, you're like, okay, that's not a cute cuddly teddy bear. They're freaking annoying. You know what I mean? You have to be at a certain age to really appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, what it comes down to is if you want to have a character that's cute, you have to give him a story. And I think most of the problem with Jar Jar is he never got his arc well presented.
Oh, yes.
Exactly, well presented.
And I think that, and you see this in a lot of non-canonical stories of Jar Jar, that they're actually, whether you're going to have him as Jar Jar the Sith Lord or Jar Jar the, the man who plays the fool for the colonialists. There's going to be this step and fetch it because he can gain power over them by playing into the role that he sees. Which of course goes to classic Greek and Roman comedy, where the original sassy slave character, the idea of, I'm going to play this role because it actually gives me power over this person who thinks he has power over me. And they could have done much more with Jar Jar. They did.
But honestly, at the end of the day, it was merchandise. It was merchandise.
Plus, it needed 3 more seasons, and then we would have realized how great it was.
Prequels are a mess.
Did any Jar Jar merchandise sell? I don't even think my kids like Jar Jar. I don't think any of them. Of course, I think they might have been not in the right age to like Jar Jar. I don't know what the age demographic was for Jar Jar.
Yeah.
That I don't think Jar Jar was a marketing success.
No. The whole bit of cat.
I'm going to limb on that one.
But that's a whole nother subject for a whole nother time. Phil, anything else you want to touch on?
No, I think that's it. Anyone else?
Okay.
All right.
My favorite part.
The shameless plug. All right. Coming up soon. Stay tuned. Well, if you're listening to the podcast, you probably already heard our New Year's Eve special, but if you're on YouTube, tomorrow, Saturday, December 30th, 7 p.m., with the ladies from Alaska, check it out. The Biters Podcast. And stay tuned for our next book club, me and Lilith. What are we reviewing?
The Vampire Lestat.
That's right!
You guys are doing the Vampire Lestat?
Yes! Love this book.
You didn't tell me. That's my favorite book. Well, one of my favorite books.
One of them.
It's only one of the Vampire Chronicles series I've read. I love it so much. It's one of my...
You didn't read the interview?
I tried.
No.
He's
I get it.
He's whiny. He's whiny. Lestat embraces it. Lestat was like, dude, I get to live forever, be super strong and amazing, and yeah,
rules?
I don't miss the
what
color
rules?
blue. I don't miss blue. I'm fine. The blue, I was not that married to blue in the start. Blue was not a color that was that common in medieval Europe. So it's like, that I even recognize the color blue. It's like, oh yeah, blue. Yeah, I remember. And once they invent electric light, oh, there's the color blue again. There we go. Maybe you should be happy now. Maybe you should be happy. It's like, it's like when Lestat wakes up and he goes to 7-Eleven, it's like, oh my gosh, look at all this food and this like perfumes and everything anyone could ever want. It's like, this is the 7-Eleven dude. This is a convenience store. This is just like for people who like forgot stuff on their road trip, man.
Yeah.
This ain't like the Grand Bazaar, I love.
If you're animated by about the Vampire Lestat or anything else in pop culture, email us, capesandlunatics@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, @CapesLunatics, or the voicemail, 614-382-2737.
We are live, Phil. I can't edit that.
I know, and I'm like the only sober one here. 614-38-CAPES. All right, 614-382-2737. I know this. All right, Lilith?
Leave the raspberry iced tea alone, Phil. Too much sugar.
Actually, drinking water.
You are ready to live tweet The Gifted Mondays at 9 when it comes back. You can do it with me at Lilith Hellfire. And for everything else, at Adventures in FG. That's Pinterest, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Adventures in FG. And check out my website, adventuresinfangirling.com. And please help keep this lovely podcast network afloat by heading over to SouthgateMediaGroup.com and clicking on some affiliate links and buying some stuff, because bandwidth ain't cheap.
And the pretty boy Charlie Esser, where can people find you?
Well, you can always write to me in that old-fashioned email way the way our Miles and Poss once did on the old AOL. at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And of course, follow me on the Twitter so that I tweet something at some point. Whenever I feel like it. Maybe Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Maybe Svengoolie. Saturday nights. Whenever I feel like, it's a crapshoot. At Charlie Esser, that's CharlieEesser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle for quality.
All right. Thank you for joining us once again. This has been The Capes.
Ampersand!
Lunatics!
Yay!
That's
All right.
fun.
And remember, New Year's Eve special. If you haven't heard it yet, go check it out. Vampire Lestat book review coming up. Our usual nonsense.
Wayne's World, Newcastle Cruise, Super Connectivity, all that good stuff right here on this feed.
Charlie Esser reviewing the Marvel Netflix shows. Charlie and
Yay!
Maz. Yay!
In
Don't
Death
get this.
punishment.
Don't get defensive
That's our new
until
one.
you get punished. That's right.
That's punishments, man. Because he does not care if you're heartfully sorry for having offended me.
From me and Lilith and the Pretty Boy of Southgate Media Group. Good night.